What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be replacing some serpentine belts on the Infiniti. Alright, so first, sorry about the wind noise. It's a little windy today. It just finally quit raining, so I'm going to try to get this done, but we have some belts that are a little cracked. This is a 3.5 liter. I think it's also in some of the Nissans, like the Nissan 350 and the Infiniti G35, I believe. But this is on an Infiniti FX35. And if you can see, we've got some belts that are getting some cracks. It looks pretty dirty in there too. I have to clean it up a little bit, but the tensioners on these belts are actually right here for the big belt and right down here for the little belt. And there's a nut on the bottom side, I believe, so we're going to take the plastic piece out of the bottom, come up from the bottom, get a little bit better view at it, and probably make it a little bit easier. Alright, so I went ahead and put the car up on ramps just to get a little bit more room for camera angle. But we're going to take off this plastic cover on the bottom, removing all the screws, 10 millimeter. Alright, so now we got a good view from underneath. You can see there's the tensioner bolt that runs the small pulley. I think it just runs the air conditioner compressor. And then we have the bolt that does the big pulley, which runs everything else. Alternator, power steering. Alright, so I'm going to spray some of this down, clean it up. It looks pretty rusty. To make it a little bit smoother and easier to adjust. Alright, so now we're ready to loosen the tensioner, and you'll basically use a 12 millimeter socket and turn as if you're loosening it, because that will draw it back down towards you, relieving the tension. Alright, we got this side loosened. Another reason I said to kind of maybe clean a little bit is because that does not want to slide down very easily after you get all this rust built up and corrosion. I know I should clean this a little bit more, but it's a good running car. I figured I'll just fix it little by little. So now we'll move on to this bolt, and it's the same size, 12 millimeter. And we will loosen as well until we get this one loose. Alright, now they're both loose, and the big one is on the outside, so it's got to come off first. Just slip it over. It should come off pretty easy. Same with the other one. Slip it over the smallest pulley usually, and then it comes off. Alright, so now you see a little bit better on how cracked it really was. It was still working, but I'd hate for that to break going down the road. The little one had some breaks in it as well. Anyways, get rid of those. We got our two new belts. I like ACDelco. I'm sure you can find another one, but these are pretty cheap if you get them on Amazon. There's the numbers for the big belt, and the number for the small belt. Now most vehicles will have a sticker here on the car somewhere under the hood that would basically tell you the routing of the belt. I don't see one on this one, but I'm not too worried, because if you look closely you'll notice that the inside will have lines on the pulley. The way the outside runs will have a smooth surface. And these ones are pretty small, so it's kind of hard to get it wrong. Alright, so you put the small pulley on first, because it goes on the back side. I'd run it around the compressor, around the crank. Oh, this is hard with one hand. Alright, there we go. And then you'll just push it up over. If you don't have enough room to push it up over, you're going to have to lower it back down again just a little bit more, which I think I'm going to have to. Obviously the new belts are going to be a little bit tighter because they haven't been all stretched out. But let me adjust that and then I'll bring you back. Alright, I think we got enough room now. Just slide it right over the top. Make sure it's down inside the groove, not overlapping or overhanging, which we look good. And now we'll just tighten it back up to where, I'm not sure if there's an exact setting, but I usually just tighten it to where it's not rubber band like it, but it's not so tight it's going to break. One thing I wanted to point out is the adjuster bolt is actually in a tray, and when tightening or loosening it might try to jump out of that tray, and when it does it will bind up that bolt, and then the bracket or the adjuster doesn't really want to slide down the bracket, so make sure that stays in that little groove tray for that bolt. Alright, we got that tightened up, and as you can see it's tight, but it's not super tight. You can move it. So now we'll jump over to the other side and put it on, which is the bigger belt. Another thing, make sure that all your grooves are cleaned out. Sometimes you can get some gunk or grease in there, which could potentially tear up your new belt. Alright, and we got the second belt on. Now we'll tighten this one back up, turning it clockwise. Same as the other one. We can tighten this one just a little bit more because it's a little bit bigger belt, but still doesn't need to be very tight. Alright, cover's back on. Let's get this off the ramps and we'll start up and see how it sounds. Alright, so we got it down. Seems like everything is good. The belt is not jumping off or anything. There's no squeaks. All the belts look good. No squeaking or sounds. So I guess we can call that good. But I do have, let me shut the car off. Alright, what I was going to say is coming up we do have a spark plug installation video. It doesn't look like it's going to be real easy, but that's something we got on the way, and something else for this motor. Now the Duramax, we are ready to put something new on it as well. I was rotating the tires the other day and noticed something was not good. So as soon as that comes in, we'll have a video on the Duramax. Well, if you enjoyed today's video, come back and see what we do next time. This is Dustin at Packwood Performance 4x4. Hope you guys have a good evening.